as I walked by him, I heard him say, "Well, yeah, they're pretty good." That was about self. Really, they're pretty good. They're big and they're strong and they're probably good. So I got a good future. But he asked me. He said, "Do you think it's just your turn this year?" And I said, "What do you mean by that?" He said, "Well, I mean, all the overtime games, all the sudden death games, all the one-goal games. You just guys seem to be able to come out on top with those." And I said, "No, I don't think that's it. I think that the guys have figured it out." That's what we talked about. So I did write down some of the stats. 19-1-3. We lost to Rutland, I believe. Now, that being said, did they earn that game? Maybe not. Were there games we won that we didn't earn? Possibly. But what did we learn from that game? Sometimes, you have to take one in order to get them back on track. And we had 2 in a row, one with Rutland, one with Rice. We're starting to wonder a little bit what's going on. But sometimes the puck doesn't bounce. Sometimes no matter what you do, it doesn't work. And so there's going to be a flat spot. So I thought we did pretty well to go through that. And the stats I had, we had 5 games that were 2-1, 9 overtime games, and 3 ties, so that would make 12 overtime games. 11 games we came from behind. And again, that was Austin's call. So you have to believe in these guys, and we have to be able to recognize just how great an accomplishment this was for them. Because 11 one-goal games, 11 times from behind, we could just as easily have been 8-12-3. Or well, we probably wouldn't have had the 3 there if we had been 8-12. But did we get some bounces? Sure we did. I watched watching the last game, and I was talking to Mr. Short about it, is that in the overtime, I think, there was a shot, went through the 5-hole, and came out sideways. I don't know what you did, Shorty. Just making sure. Shorty says, "I had it all the way." How about the one that hit the pipe and went out?
Have a little something.
Reminded me of the Rutland game that Robbie what? Dabrowski hit the pipe, and the ref said it was in. So
I told Shorty to leave the ones alone that were high. So
thanks, Coach. So after the championship game, incredible emotion. Trying to get them off the ice and get them in the locker room, and Tuesday morning there was a special gathering for the team, and in order for them to, there was a reward. In order for them to get the reward, they all had to be there. Do you know the children's song, "The Farmer in the Dell"? You know that song, little kid's song? You remember that the cheese stands alone? It's kind of how I felt. So. I had to get that in because I went to bed at 2:30. I got up at 5:30. I went to work. I was here at 7:20. So I don't want to just take it for what it's worth, guys. So when you get jobs, you got to get up and go to work. All right? Enough said. I promised Mr. Goodrich I'd say something about that. All right. So now let's get to the awards here, so we can get to the picture show. Rich already talked about Johnny Decatur. Shorty had a tough job. The defense had a tough job. Shorty had a tough job cleaning up the turnovers from the defense or the offense. We spent a lot of time trying to get out of our zone, and that was hard. But Johnny Decatur had the toughest job. Came to practice every day, as Rich said. He worked hard. He got better. He waited and waited to play. This year was incredibly unusual in terms of availability of ice time. There were so many close games. You can't just throw someone out in a tight game for 2 reasons. one, if something happens, then they feel awful. And two, if something happens, everybody else feels awful. So trying not to put kids into those situations is one of the things that's very difficult about coaching. I talked to the guys to John a couple times, and said, look, it's just an unusual year. I would love to get you in more. And game after game after game, the game just did not allow that to happen. But he came to practice every day. He worked hard every day. He played when he was sick, all right, and gave it 110% every single time. He pushed Shorty to be better. He worked hard to be better himself. Couldn't have asked more of you, John, than what you gave. Thank you. John, welcome to the rest.
Yeah, yes way. Yo, Gleason, are you keeping that for wax season? Are you?
Oh, what's up, girls?
Hey. Yo, Gleason, are you keeping that for wax season?
I don't know, man.
Thin it out and keep it. That would look.
I'd go mullet. Definitely go mullet.
Yeah, it would. Pop it out of the pocket.
I mean, besides that, I don't go.
Wait, what? Hey, wait. Hey, man.
Give him a wink.
This is a video or a picture?
Yeah.
I gave him a wink. I did. I did.
Was that a video or a picture?
I did, Austin.
I wasn't sure what I was doing.
A little bit of both.
I talked to Austin Danforth after the game. Talked about the unsung heroes. And he caught me right after the game, underneath the bleachers. And I mentioned 3 or 4 players, and I didn't mention John. And when it came out, I called him and I said, didn't we put John's name in there? And he said, you didn't mention him. So my fault. Certainly he was in my thoughts. In the emotion of the whole thing, I did not mention him. But I certainly should have and would have. And if I could go back and do it over, I would. All right. But the other guys that I mentioned were Sean Vanzo and Henry Adams, unsung heroes who filled in when the guys were sick, when the guys were hurt. They did a great job. Always 100% out there. Always 100%. And more than appreciative and proud of you guys. I'm glad you could be part of this whole thing. For your contributions may be measured in different ways, but they are just as important as anything else that happened on this team. So would you guys come up and get your letters, please? You have letters? Okay, so you get, really? Hockey letter? Did you get a hockey letter last year?
Well, they're the same, but
Who did you get a letter in?
looking for them.
Okay, so you need a pin.
Yeah.
Okay. So, stop dropping things. I thought I had this all organized. I'm thrown off by the fact that I don't have the right of words. Sean, okay, we can do Henry first. Henry, thank you so much. Sean, hey Sean, thank you. That's Henry's. There we go. Did they give you a pin? There we go. So I'm gonna call. Okay. Jarrett Cram. Jarrett drifted around in the back of the D for a while. As the season went on, he got better and better. Watching him play the game, make better and better decisions, find the open guy, and again, stepping in when we had injuries, when we had sickness, doing a good job. Unfortunately, in the championship game, he had a mashed foot, and so it was painful to even skate, but he suited up and went out anyway if we should need him. So that is certainly much appreciated, and you deserve everything you get. Okay. Ethan Bartlett. What can you say about Bart? You know, at the beginning of the year, when we took our picture, everybody showed up with a mustache. And I said, I didn't notice those yesterday. Have you guys been growing those mustaches? And this was where the mascara came out. They had pencil. If you look at the picture out in the thing there, almost all of them have It turns out Bart actually could grow his own. And so he had one, or something like that, the day of the championship game, but then the next day it was gone. So I don't know whether you grew that on or what, but congratulations, Bart. Thank you. Okay, I'm not sure if Austin Terrio is Bart's partner in crime or Jarrett's partner in crime, because they hang out at different times in different places. But Austin had kind of a flat spot this year, and was talking to him about it, and he just didn't feel well. You know, the sickness that went around, he was playing sick, as many of them were. And so when we realized that, as we watched him get better and get stronger, he sort of came back to where, and somebody said as they watched him go down the ice with the puck one time, that's the Austin Terrio I remember from last year. So he came back, and you know, those four guys in the state championship didn't get much rest. And Jake took a break there for a little while, but they filled in for him. You know, I know it isn't your turn, Jake, but I do sympathize with you. I've been there, done that, and had the ref, and then disagreed with the ref, and didn't do any good when I disagreed either. So those things happen, and that was unfortunate. But it all worked out fine, so don't worry about it. So, Austin, Terrio. Derek Short. What can you say about Shorty? Wall. Best in the league. Most consistent. Most determined. Hardworking. He just wasn't going to let stuff get by him. You know, they snuck a couple, but we're at a great disadvantage. He kept us in games. You know, we had those 11 games where we came from behind. It's because he kept us in the game. You know, so having that in back of everybody gives everybody more confidence to play up front. So Shorty did a great job. Congratulations. Well done. Say just a quick word about Dom. I say he's sick. Yeah. So, unfortunately, Dom as a freshman, we were watching him and going, boy, he falls down a lot. It's like, but he plays that way. Not, I don't mean like he falls down like the way he plays, but he just looks like he's going to tip over, and he gets away with it. But he stepped in this year and did a great job. It has nothing to do with him playing poorly or playing carelessly. He always seemed to manage to get the puck out, even if he lost it once. He did in the championship game. He lost it, did like a spin around, and came out with the puck and up the boards with it. It was like, how did he do that? You know. So improvement. You know, with all these guys getting better and doing things better and better, and playing the game at a better and higher pace. Dom did a great job. I'm sorry he's not here to join us and to hear some kind words for him. So, thank you, Dom. Okay. Mr. McGovern does not have his cast on today. These were two of our unfortunate injuries right in the middle of the season, and this is one of the situations where other people filled in. Nick coming in, you know, becoming a team, playing in the group. There's a lot of stuff that has to happen before you become a team. And picking 20 guys, and I always just start with this, picking 20 guys doesn't mean that you're a team. It takes a lot more than that. So he had to step aside and was out, how many, a month? Long time. Yeah. But ready to go by playoffs. And so as you saw the games, you know that we rotated people in and out. There was a plan, but he was quick in the corners, and I'm sure that defenseman from South Burlington didn't think he was going to catch him. Oops. Because I'm sure the South Burlington team thought he was going to turn the net and send that puck flying down the ice. Next thing he knew, he'd stripped him of the puck, slides it out into the middle, and Alex is there, and bang, game over. So, Nick did a great job. Not just in that game, but to come back and play with a splint on his hand. You know, it's hard enough holding onto that thing with everybody whacking at you and digging in the corners when you don't have those on. To put a restraint on there, and then to be playing and banging in the boards, and it didn't look like that bothered him one bit. You know, that was a real tribute to the tenacity and the hard work of this young man. So, Nick, congratulations. Thank you. Okay. The Young Guns. Ryan Young is one of the Young Guns. It's unusual that we find three.
We did that cake. Anyways, you know what? That's not their trophy that they actually rotate around. He said they come for a rotating trophy. Yeah, there's one that goes from school to school.
I think we're going to start, if it's okay with you guys. And we have had a motion on the floor to allow the boys to eat first. Are you sure you want to do that? I don't hear any nays. So the ayes have it. Boys, attack.
I don't know where.
And he like straight up after told it. Yeah, he said, yeah, no, Mr. Johnson was like, that's not even true. Huge chickens in there. It wasn't We got a little mac and cheese, pulled pork, chicken wings. Great meal made by the parents. Great meal.
Is this the new highlight of the season for you? Is this the highlight of the season?
44 special.
There's a.
I might get some of this. It's looking real good.
I'm gonna have to start.
Get that thing out of my face.
Dude, wouldn't you rather be naturally smart than have to work and study for be smart?
I do, so that's why I don't make about it.
Oh, no fear. Did you make your Fort Myers dress? I know. Who made that? Like the Thanksgiving.
Okay, I don't even know where to start after that season. One of the statistics I thought I really enjoyed is that we got to play more hockey than anybody else. We played how many overtime? 9 overtime games, including the last one. So it's kind of like my golf game. Because I get to hit the ball more than anybody else. So it's kind of equating that. Probably doesn't fit here, but I thought about that. And to put it in perspective is probably one of the hardest things to do because it was such a phenomenal final game. It was also such a phenomenal season for these guys. Has to be one of the hardest fought, most determined situations, games, group of people that we've ever had. You know, we've had teams maybe with more talent, but with the determination and just their insistent drive and refusal to give up. They got everything. They deserve everything they got. They got everything they deserve. So, thank you guys for everything, for all the support. Shorty, those shirts were great.
And the first thing that she wanted to know was where was the bug, or Buzzy the Hornet. And then she wanted to know where Shorty was. Then she wanted to know where Coach O was. And then it was, where's Rich? Where's Coach Roy? So she's pretty well versed with everybody's name. You know, Coach, there's a lot of different things that have gone on in my 9 years of being here. And some of them superstitions that have started with coffee before each game, gum, cough drops. But one of them that we changed this year was speeches before the game. And usually, day before a game, we would skate the kids a little bit at the end and then have them lay down and start visualizing the next day's opponents and what their jobs were, etc. Well, that didn't work when we fought our 2, 3, 4 week sickness, where I showed up to practice one day and I had tweaked my neck, and it was, I think, 20 below, and so I think we had 8 guys, 9 guys at practice. So
We had 11.
Coach Roy and I were talking, and I said, you know, it's probably best, let's just get them out of here. And I think we were going to BFA, if I'm not mistaken. And so we didn't have them skate around and didn't have them lay on their backs. No, I'm sorry, before the Colchester game over there. So prior to that, I had them all sit down on the locker room floor before the game, put their heads back on the bench and talk to them. So Coach, we were successful over there, so Coach says, I kind of like that, let's keep doing that. So before the finals, there's 25 minutes on the clock, and there's a clock inside the locker room. So Coach starts talking. I said, do you want me to go first? And in this new format of things, I was going first. No, I'll go. Well, we were going out at 15 minutes. He leaves me 3 minutes. And I said, well, that just threw off the whole superstition, threw everything off. So he took a whole bunch of time tonight too, so I was going to make mine real short. I counted them up today. I only counted 8 overtime games, but I did count 10 one-goal games. But the interesting part to this was 3 things that I thought of throughout the season was the New York trip. The guy, the coach from the second team that we played said to me after the game, I've never seen a team pass like that before. And some of the things that the kids were working on with the weighted pucks, we used to pull those out almost every day, and kind of made it where we did 3 different passing drills and switched them up throughout the year. So that started to pay off. And that was kind of nice to hear from another coach that he hadn't seen a team pass like that in years of coaching. Second thing was the timeouts. So I'm sure that everybody kind of sits and says, why aren't they calling a timeout? We need some rest. Well, when we played Colchester here, and it was 1-0, I believe, there was 3 minutes and 55 seconds left, and Coach Murray decides to call a timeout. And I said to the kids, I said, we're all over them. One's gonna go in. You never call a timeout when you're winning. So 3 minutes and 5 seconds, somebody scores. I can't even remember who it was. I walked down, was it Godey? Gaborio. So I walked down to Coach O and I said, see that? Within the minute. 55 seconds, and I told the kids a minute. How are you watching the clock right now, he says. So that's the timeout story from the bench, is that he would always look down at me and, are you ready to call one? If we were winning or we're tied, I always said, no, definitely don't call one. So throughout the year, the Colchester one, trying to think there was one other one, and it escaped me today when I was trying to find it. But during the finals, when South Burlington called their timeout with, I can't remember, 5-6 minutes left in the third, I said, yeah, there it is, they're all done. Well, we got to play some extra time. But the most important thing that I think that these guys did all year, and one of the things that we talked to them about a lot was the very first game against South Burlington. One of the guys turned around and looked at me and said, they know what we're doing on our breakout, power play breakout. And I said, okay. So the 4 coaches sat down and we talked for a little while. And we came up with kind of a motto for the year. And it was, figure it out. We can detail something out on the board. We can work on it in practice. But the rink is 200 by 85 or 200 by 90 when we get over to Gutterson. And there's going to be a lot of things that are going to change. Yeah, we know, I hate to say this out loud, but we know what BFA is going to do. You know, and for the most part, we know what a couple other teams are going to do. But the puck's going to bounce one way or the other. You're going to find yourself in different situations. And these guys, 1 through 20, they figured it out every day. And that was what was great to be a part of this. Okay? And I started to go through the games. I spent the night in the hospital last night, and I started to go through our schedule, and I can remember 6 or 7 goals where somebody new, somebody different. The one that kept coming back to me was Bart and I had a little disagreement up in St. Albans about him not shooting, and he went on a tear the next 4 or 5 games and scored a bunch of goals. But it was somebody new every game that would step up and score. Didn't matter, freshman, senior, junior, sophomore, it just didn't matter. And that was what was great about this group. It was always somebody new. And it was almost like, we talked about this early on, and then we talked about it closer to the end of the year, was don't be afraid to lose. Go out and play right on the edge. Don't cross the line between cocky and confident. And these guys played on the edge all year. And like Coach said, they deserve everything that they got. They were fantastic and resilient. just a great group of guys to be around. That obviously comes from you guys, the parents, and your support. So I certainly appreciate that. And obviously, I couldn't do it without my biggest fan, right, Bud? What did we say to Shorty? And obviously, my wife coming to the game and at, I don't know, 9, been 3 weeks pregnant or whatever. But every period, I would go down and Mrs. Godin came over and reminded me that, hey, you got some coaching to do down there. But going into the third overtime, my wife was waiting for me under the stands and said, we got to go. I said, that's okay, go ahead. Long and short of this is 9 years ago, when my mom passed away, I just met Kathleen, and she, probably kill me for telling you this, but she shows up at Gutterson on a Monday night when we're playing Rutland in a pair of high heels in the middle of the winter because she's going to some concert or something. Well, we start going into overtime, and she said, I'm going to the concert. Okay, so we go into whatever, double overtime, and we win. So the only thing I could think of, superstition again, was, yeah, go ahead, it'll be fine. So it turned out all right. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it.
And you guys, I think will tell you, I did say that after the second period at BFA, that as I looked down at their bench and I saw that sign sitting there. And as I thought about those guys were really coming at us hard. So we really, as you know, had our backs to the wall. What are we going to do? And the only thing we could say is, you got to believe in what you're doing. So when you showed up at the championship game with all those shirts, I turned around and everybody's got "Believe" on the front. And boy, I'll tell you, it took a lot of believing to get through that one. You guys are great, and thank you for sharing your sons with us, for trusting us to try to make the right decisions and get them in the right places and provide for them. We as coaches appreciate everything you've done to help, and this banquet is great. And I wish we could keep going. Maybe go to on the road, go to like Puerto Rico or I don't know, someplace warm where there's no snow and they have a rink. It was just a pretty phenomenal year. The coaches, Jay Parrott, who, by the way, if you don't know, is a new father again. Nora is the big sister. Jay, am I correct? It's Lily May? Lillian May. That's Jay's middle name, I think. But for Kathleen to come to this championship game, boy, we had a staff on ready to go in case, that was just. And I said to him, because she had the baby after the championship game and the banquet, I said, what great timing. And there was no overtime. And so he's here with Nora, and that's great. Coach Rich, for dedication, running 2 different programs, and we sort of battled over who was going to take the pucks out. Again, one of my superstitions, I bring him out, and if he's already brought him out, I'm kind of like, beat me again. But he did a lot of extra stuff behind the scenes, much, much appreciated. Coach Roy, great insight, a lot of youth. He can still skate with the kids. I think the last race might have been to Bart. Is that right? Remy. Oh, okay. We're not counting that one? False start?
You only have one skate on that.
Jumping guy. Okay. But, running the guidance department at the high school was no simple task. And so for him to jump out of that role and put on a different hat and come over and skate with us and help out, it was just great having him aboard this year. So much, much appreciated. coaches and families, thank you so much. Also, athletic department, Jeff was so helpful in anything we needed. Noel and the ice time, he always found ice for us, always took care of the ice. There was only one time I think I got the times mixed up, and they had the door open. They're like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "You're off." I'm like, "No, we're on till 4:30." He's like, "No, you're not." Okay, that's fine. Todd Harrington, who was the assistant in the office and helped out tremendously with any kinds of equipment things or whatever. And the ice crew over there, they make good ice for us. We get pretty good ice here. And it works really well except when we have 3 refs on the ice. So I won't go on. And players, fantastic. Thank you for all your acceptance and trusting us to put in place the things that we needed to get in place to play the game. Changing things that you did to match up and to work within our system. You get a lot of different coaches. You've come through, I don't know how many different programs you guys, and every coach is a little different, maybe some the same. And so for buying into the whole deal and doing everything we asked, I can't tell you how much as coaches we appreciate that. And I hope you feel, and I can't say that it was because of that we won the state championship. It was because of you guys that we won the state championship. So thank you so much for all that. I'll ask these guys to step up and say a few words, and then I'll talk about the season, and we'll get these guys their just dues. So, Coach Jay, you want to, you good to go? Coming with it, bring it with it.
To Bill and to Jay and to Rich, and for kind of letting me tag along with the guys and have some fun and step up my role this year. Big thanks to all of you. As Jay mentioned, these are really tremendous group of kids, and that all comes directly from you guys. So my hat is off. This is a really special group. When I was talking with my friends, my family about the season and the guys, I'd say that this is probably the best group that I've been associated with in my time involved with hockey. Was on a lot of great hockey teams and played with some great hockey players, but I think that this was the best group of guys that I've seen, and probably from all the way from the way that the upperclassmen, the seniors treated the incoming guys, the rookies don't get that with all the teams, the way that those 9th graders felt comfortable within the first couple of weeks, giving it right back to the seniors, which you've never seen. Some good from the mascara that we saw passed around the locker room when the guys were painting the mustaches on for the pictures. I'd never seen that either. Really, really good group of guys, up and down the roster. And I think that there's excellence in there, guys. Just a quick couple of takeaways, for me would be, remembering the impact that the locker room had on the ice, and the way that things felt in the locker room, and just getting ready for practices and getting ready for workouts, and the contribution that each of you made to that, up and down the roster, and that where you go in the future is going to be in a lot of different places and directions, but the investments you guys made in each other as a team had a direct benefit to where you were all going. I think that that's a really important takeaway, that some guys contributed in all their own ways, but that the investments in the team and in each other, and the older guys looking out for the younger guys, and vice versa, that's one of my big takeaways. And the other thing that I'd encourage everybody to remember, my seniors especially, a real good group of guys right here, to remember, and for the younger guys too, but to remember some of the things that we tried to teach you. My role with the team is that I don't have to manage a lot of the X and O's. I don't have to do a lot of the management kind of stuff. I don't have to really think about how practice is going to go, or who's rostered and eligible and all that kind of stuff. So I really get to work with guys individually. My favorite moment of the season, of course, is yelling. Actually, my favorite moment after the championship game, of course, was yelling to Gmo, shoot. He shoots, he scores. Big BFA goal right there. I kind of shut the crowd down. But all the simple things that you guys have learned from each other, from your coaches throughout history, but the little things you've learned from us. Try to remember as best you can, the single forecheck with a pinch, right? Try to remember, you know, staying wide. Try to remember to move your feet more. Try to remember how to, you know, not throw the hips open, Henry, on a wrist shot. And just some of those little things, you know, right down from the concepts of the way the game is supposed to be played, the lessons about how to do the right thing, all the time, and, you know, embed those memories with some of just the fun and the gloves getting tossed off at Gutterson, because I think that having some of those memories is going to go a long way in what you remember about the game. So I just encourage everybody to kind of think back to some of the more technical, finer points that you picked up, in addition to really remembering how important it was, the emotions of the team and what you guys did for one another. So those are a couple of points I wanted everybody to remember, and just a lot of my thanks goes to these guys too. You know, everybody came in huge for us at some point or another, and I can really look, you know, right down the roster and think of different moments for everybody. So thanks for letting me be a part of it, and guys, congratulations.
Stuff. They just, you know, Bill talks about superstitions and stuff like that. It has to be 12 pucks before the game, that for the game pucks, you know, only 9 water bottles, you know, all this kind of stuff. And, you know, I have mine too. I put the water bottles out there in a specific way, even practice and the game. So, you know, and how you set pucks up. Everybody has those little goofy things that you do, and how you prep for a game. You know, when I was a kid, I always took a shower before the game when I played. Just got me ready for the game. And still do it now. It's a good thing. But these guys did a good job this year. I mean, they, you know, the coaches, they teach these kids a lot of stuff, and I learn every year from Bill, Jay, you know, for sure. But I learn a lot from how to deal with the kids and what they do when things come up. They sit them down, they talk to them, they make sure they understand what's going on, and if there's an issue, they work through it with them. They help them out. And that's really key, I think, and you don't see that in a lot of other programs. I never heard of other programs doing that with kids. It's like, go out there and play, I don't care how you play, but get the job done. You know, they care more about how the kids act, how they perceive themselves, you know, and make Essex a good school. And that's really big, and you guys need to take that on with you, and you guys continue that, you know. You know as well as I do. I only seen Bill really pissed once. I mean, and this was in Gloucester, and it was LeBlanc. He said he chirped at that other bench. He dragged him right off the ice, sat him down, he said, I don't want to see that ever again. It's perception. It's like, you don't need to do that. Play our game and do what you're supposed to, and don't act like a jerk. You know, we see that from a lot of teams. They don't act very good, and that makes us better, not just in winning, but just as better kids and parents and everything else. Johnny Decatur, you did great this year. You worked hard. Johnny Danger. I'll tell you what, that kid busted his hump every day. He brought it every day. You ask the boys, he made some incredible stops during practice. He just worked hard all the time. He's good friends with Shorty. They talk all the time. He asks questions, and he just works hard. He's a great kid. You know, he's never whining about anything. It's just he works hard. So I give him that, and that has a lot to do with where we got this year, because you can't. Your other players that maybe don't play so much, they need to be able to push everybody to be better. And Johnny did that this year. He did great. You know, thanks, Johnny. Shorty, he was okay. He worked hard every day also. He hates being scored on, you know. So he gets scored on in practice. He takes it, wham, he snaps it right out of the net. He just does not like it. I'm okay with that. But that's the way he is. Somebody said to me one day, have you ever taught your goalies anything, never to touch a puck when it goes in? I said, you know what? I said, that's what he does. Leave him alone. He's doing fine. I don't care what he does with the puck. You know, just let it go. So that's something he does, and it's he doesn't want it in the net, and I'm okay with that. But he played great. The boys, I'm sure, can attest that he did some great stuff back there. You know, I'm just surprised that you didn't let the first goal in the game. You know, we usually let the first goal in and then come back from there. You know, but you did great, Shorty, and hats off to you for everything you did, and you did great. You kept us in there. And thank you, parents. It was great. We had a lot of fun. I always do. And the boys are great. I love hanging around them, and you know, with the little, like I said, you know, we got these little rituals. You know, Joey and I double fist pump. You know, I throw Gleese football before a game, right? You know, do all these little things, and we do it every time. So it's just kind of fun that way. So congratulations, boys. You did a great job, and thanks for letting me be part of it.
It's faster. It's harder hitting. Remember Ryan, South Burlington, first game, first shift. Ryan, where are you? Where are you, Ryan? Remember that shift? Didn't need his anybody. Yeah, it hurt. Of course, it was like the biggest guy on South. We just flattened him. It was like, oh. Yeah. So, didn't deter him from going at it. I remember him taking on a big guy. And I think he said to him, I've taken on bigger guys than you before. And the guy said, how'd you do? And he said, not very well. But, you know, and a broken wrist. So he was out 3 weeks, a month. Came back, and again, part of the plan, part of the program, part of the system, and did a great job. So Ryan, congratulations. I'm going to have to get you a pen, Ryan. Yeah, remind me afterwards. Mav? Boy, a great name. I know, I'm not going to say anything, I've heard it before. But, and it's, you know, he's so emotional. I have to calm him down. He's like up here and down there and up here and down there. And I just, you know, I can't get a word in edgewise because he just rambles on and talks all the time. But Mav improved tremendously this year. One of the things, Matt, what were you at you the most about? You think? Foot speed. Okay, exactly. Foot speed. Move your feet. Move your feet. Move your feet. And we watched that get better and better and better and better as the season went on. And brought him up a level, 2 levels, however much it needed to be brought up, and became a great competitive player by the end of the season. So, great things in the future, and appreciate the kind words from Mr. King for the seniors, and I do appreciate seniors who being as kind and accepting, because there have been other years where that hasn't been true. So something coaches always worry about. Nice to know we didn't have to worry about this year. Maverick, you did a great job. Okay, Alex has the hardest shot on the team. I'll give him that.
It's questionable.
Shorty, no. You want to throw it?
I might say Gleason might have the hardest.
Gleason, you think? Okay. For a freshman. You know, how many times in your life you get to be a hero? You know, not very many. I wouldn't say that Alex was the only hero on the ice. I would say that all of these guys were heroes that night. But Alex finished it for him. Great shot, great pass from McGovern. And he didn't shoot it over the net. We did work with him on that. Of course, Gleese, we also worked with that with you too. They love, you what?
We shoot too hard, so we live in that.
You shoot too hard. They love to snipe and hit that upper corner. You know, out of the rink. I told them in one of the shooting drills, If you miss the net, you do 5 push-ups. If you shoot it over the net, you do 10. If it's out of the rink, you do 20, and you go get the puck. So we did work on that. We did work on trying to get him down. But and you know, during the year, I think opportunity-wise, he had as many as any other player. And it settled down when we got to playoffs because he got the tying goal at the BFA game. Glees contributed a little bit to that one too. So. And Godey had his day in the Rice game. So not to set aside any of the other guys who helped us get where we are. But Alex had a great freshman year. Looking forward to up and coming next year. And congratulations. Seniors. First, the dancer, Mikey Cross. This guy loves to dance in the locker room. He's got more moves than a can of worms. I've ever seen him. Unbelievable.
Let's see some of those moves.
Should I tell him where I get you, Mike, or not? What? Should I tell him where I get you if you want to? You want me to tell him?
Yeah, I mean, you can tell him.
You want me to tell him? I offered to get him a pole for the locker room if he wanted to dance.
That's his love song.
Hey, who needs the internet to find this stuff out? Never mind Facebook. Well, right here. Centered that line with Gleason Joey. Did a great job. Became a very, very good hockey player. Watched him improve over the year. And I remember looking at, I watched the South Burlington tape when we were getting ready to play them. We had one from the first game, and then I had one from BFA playing South Burlington. And I was watching him, and he was sort of coasting around, trying to figure out what was going on. And then watching tapes of the later games, he was just flying. He was all over the place. He knew exactly where he was going. As Coach Jay said, we talk about figuring it out. And Mikey did, and did just a fantastic job this year. Mike? He's saving him. The guy who looks the oldest on the team, but probably isn't, Zach McGinnis. I told him that he probably has a career with Geico because they haven't been running the caveman ads lately. So, you know, he'd probably make a fortune doing that. So, but you know, this isn't supposed to be a roast for you guys. I'm sorry. You guys, Zach, just probably the best tip-in guy on the team. Junkyard dog. Works hard, never gets up, gives up, and I would hate to play against him. It would be like being in the forest and chopping wood when you're trying to get out of the way. But he did a lot of great things. He was always a team player, and great leadership. Zach? This guy was kind of like team father. I think he was sort of always patting people on the back and helping people out and saying good things. Jared Lee, I loved his tenacity, hard work in the corners. Used to talk him about being a little bit of a thug, because you know, you got to be careful. If you give him a little bit of a stick in the game, don't turn your back. He takes the number, pays you back. Hard hitting, and I told him this meeting, I said, I love the way you hit. I love your physical play, your physical presence on the ice. You're an intimidator, and it makes a huge difference. The other team's looking over their shoulder a little bit. But also, I thought his skating got a lot better this year. I thought playing the game improved a lot. Shot got better. Had a great goal against CVU. Yes, indeed, first goal. Great job. Great job. Jared, come on up.
Make it very big. But this is from the freshman parents to the seniors. Rob Young. Each of the seniors played a crucial role throughout the year. But really, what really means the most to me as a Frosh parent is this leadership by example. Whether a captain or not, this class of 8 young men included every new player as if they were their peers. These seniors made it clear from day one that every player, no matter the class, was important to the team and treated them as such from start to finish. From my view, the attitude and team, first mentally from all 8 of them, was the key to the overall success and experience. Then Matt King. I have to reiterate Rob's comments regarding the older boys and how great they were with the newbies. These guys went the extra mile all season and created a tight group that was welcome and a part of the team since day one. Had there been a team house on campus, I don't think Mav would ever have been home. Many thanks to the seniors and upperclassmen and parents for setting a great example and setting up the rest of the guys' families to pay it forward. Hornet Pride. And Christine Jumo. The seniors and juniors were so welcoming and inclusive. Jesse and I started the season wondering why these seniors wanted to hang out with Alex. So do we. Not even thinking twice about going to a basketball game with a teammate. Thanks, parents, for raising such great kids and a fine example of your kids. So that's them. Mine is a pretty good year.
Defenseman forward, back. Defenseman forward, back to defense, back to forward. Moved him around. Always gave us his best. Certainly, we were fortunate to have him this year. He had a very serious football injury. We weren't even sure he was going to play. So cautiously, I think, at the beginning, because you don't know, and that's on your mind, what happens if I get hit again? He had a protective belt. But watching him grow and change during the year and get better and better, and an incredibly instrumental part of the whole team play by the end of the year. And again, as a senior, great leadership. Jeremy? Thanks, Ram. You did a great job. Oh, there you go. Guys who shouldered this team, and not that they carried them single-handedly, but from game to game, as people emerged, these guys took that responsibility. It's not easy being a captain. You're in the middle. You know, are you on the coach's side or the player's side? And I thought these guys did a great job of keeping peace in the valley, of being mentors, being monitors, and keeping things on an even keel. Police, I don't know if you threatened anybody over the year. Didn't hear it, but I'd do what you said. No offense, Joey, Godey, and you know, you guys, but and Jake, but police has a bit of size on you, so. I don't know why you angered Mike Blowbill. I don't know what you did to him, but I'm glad you got up. So, okay, so captains, Joey Robertson, Brendan Gleason, Zach Godin, and Jake Gaborio. Would you guys come up, please? Thank you. You gotta get these other guys to sign those. years he's been with us. Defenseman, forward, back to defense, back to forward, moved him around, always gave us his best. Certainly, we were fortunate to have him this year. He had a very serious football injury. We weren't even sure he was going to play. So cautiously, I think, at the beginning, because you don't know, and that's on your mind, what happens if I get hit again? He had a protective belt. But watching him grow and change during the year and get better and better, and an incredibly instrumental part of the whole team play by the end of the year. And again, as a senior, great leadership. Jeremy? Thanks, Ram. You did a great job. Oh, there you go. It's okay with you guys? And we have had a motion on the floor to allow the boys to eat first. Are you sure you want to do that? I don't hear any nays. So the ayes have it. Boys, attack.
I don't know where.
But he asked me, he said, do you think it's just your turn this year? And I said, what do you mean by that? He said, well, I mean, all the overtime games, all the sudden death games, all the one-goal games, you just guys seem to be able to come out on top with those. And I said, no, I don't think that's it. I think that the guys have figured it out. That's what we talked about. So I did write down some of the stats. 19, 1, and 3. We lost to Rutland, I believe. Now, that being said, did they earn that game? Maybe not.